Hey everyone, this is a quick tutorial on how to connect to your Raspberry Pi if you can't hardwire it into your router. If you're coming from the FPP V5 video, then you should have the software already on the SD card, and you can go ahead and put the software into the Pi. You can power up the Pi like you normally would, but instead of connecting up an Ethernet cable like you're supposed to hook it up to your router, if you don't have one, just put in the SD card and plug in the power. I'm not sure which versions of the Pi this works on. I know this works on the Pi 4, and I'm pretty sure the Pi 3. I'll put all the versions on the screen so you know which ones you can do this with. But basically what the Pi does is, once you put in the software, if it does not detect a network connection through its Ethernet port, it will set up its own little Wi-Fi area. It will have its own hotspot, so you can connect to its own hotspot. It won't connect you to the internet or anything, because this obviously doesn't have internet connection, but it will allow you to connect to the Pi to set up your Wi-Fi settings. That way, if you do not, if you're unable to connect it to your router hardwired, once you do all this and have your Wi-Fi settings, it will connect through Wi-Fi, so that way you don't have to hardwire it to it. So, put in your SD card with the software on it, boot up the Pi, and let it boot for a minute, and then let's go on my computer so I can show you what you have to do next. Okay, so the Pi's been booting for about a minute now, so it should be all ready. I'm still connected to our network, so I could still search stuff like 1 + 1. So it still gives me answers because I can still search stuff. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug my Ethernet cable from my computer. So I'm going to lose the internet connection now because my computer is not set up with Wi-Fi, it's hardwired. So now if I go to connect, so now it says not connected there, so I'm not connected to any network right now. These are our two Wi-Fi connections, so I could connect to that. But then this new one shows up, FPP, and this one is not normally there, but it is there now because the Raspberry Pi turned on its hotspot since it didn't detect a network connection. So you can hit connect to it, and it asks for a password. So the default password, if you didn't change anything, which you probably couldn't have, if you haven't logged on to it, is Christmas with a capital C. Christmas with the capital C. So this is the password, Christmas. So if I hit next, yeah, whatever. It just asked if I wanted to be seen by other PCs on this network. There shouldn't be anyone else connected to this network since it's private. But I do recommend, though, if you're going to be using hotspot a lot for some reason to connect, that you change the password since Christmas is default. Now, for my computer, it takes a long time to connect to it, and it says that it's not a real connection and thinks it's fake because it doesn't detect any internet through it, because the Raspberry Pi obviously has no internet. So, it does take a few minutes to load, so let's wait for it to finish loading. There you go. So it is finished loading. It says no internet but secured, so it is connected, but there is no internet. So if I try to search something now like 1 + 1, I don't get anything because there is no Wi-Fi. But you can access, though, the Raspberry Pi, like I said. Now, the IP address, when you connect to the Pi, 99% of the time is going to be 192.168.8.1. And if you push enter, it connects you to the Raspberry Pi. So here we are connected to the Raspberry Pi. The IP address is almost every time going to be 192.168.8.1, and it brought me to the FPP initial setup. So that's how you connect to your Pi if you don't have a hardwire connection. Now just go back to the other video, finish watching how to set up once it gets to the FPP initial setup, and you could follow the same settings when it goes to the Wi-Fi setup. As long as you actually have a router near you, you can connect with it through Wi-Fi. So now just head back to the other video, and I will finish explaining there how to set up the rest of the stuff. Thanks for watching.